Hi, this is Otto Penzler at the Mysterious Bookshop in New York. We're doing our weekly show about books and authors and collecting. And today I want to talk about one of the greatest of all police procedural writers, John Harvey. He's the British know how to do police procedurals really well. So do Americans. I mean, certainly no one was ever better than Ed McBain, but many of the British writers use Scotland Yard as their among their protagonists and other police departments throughout the British Isles. And we've seen many of them on television, the PBS and other streaming channels, which I don't even keep up with, bring in a lot of police procedurals. And I would argue that one of the two or three greatest of the British procedural writers of all time is John Harvey. Excuse me. Harvey created a character named Charlie Resnick, who appears in 11 novels, I think. Might be 12. I lose track sometimes. They're set in Nottingham, which is a little bit different. Harvey lived in Nottingham for quite a long time. He now lives in London. He lived in different parts of the UK. In Nottingham, the books are kind of gritty. They're not polite British white gloves books. They're kind of tough, and he's confronted with a lot of the kind of crimes that you expect in a poorer factory middle class blue collar kind of town. It's not stealing diamonds. It's or pearl necklaces. It's killing people in a violent way. It's drugs. It's the kind of thing that you encounter in grittier cities. The Charlie Resnick books are based on jazz quite a lot. Harvey himself is a great jazz enthusiast, and one of the things that I love about the series so much is that the level of writing is at such a high level. There's really a style in these books, and you always know that you're going to get a mystery writer, a crime writer, with a real stylish, poetic, literary style when he also writes poetry. And John Harvey ran a publishing company that published poetry for about 20 years, and he writes his own poetry. So here are some of the Resnick novels. I'll show you. They're first published in the UK, and most of the series was published by Viking in the UK. And this is what the series looks like, and I'll show you how easy it is to tell the first editions. As I so often talk about, modern books show the number sequence that goes down from that goes up from 1 or down to 1, depending upon which way you're reading. The only exception is Random House, just to remind you of that. So I have a very nice group of first editions by Harvey in perfect condition, and because he was popular very quickly with the Resnick series, they were published in pretty decent quantities. So generally you can find them at very reasonable prices. Most of these are about $20 to $25, $30 or so. Here's another one, Cutting Edge, which is the third book in the series. It's $25, and they're all like new. This was a nice little collection. They're all perfect. You can see the number sequence again starts at 1 for this Viking book. Here's another. This is the paperback of a book, and I include it here because it was published simultaneously with the hardcover and still shows the number sequence beginning at number 1 on the copyright page. And this is his handsome signature on the title page. A very recognizable signature. It has real style. So Here's a few more. They really are kind of the same to look at. Wasted Years, first edition, is also signed on the title page, and there's the number sequence. Yes, fortunately, it does go down to number 1, so I'm not embarrassed by showing you a first edition that isn't a first edition. It is. One more, just before I start boring you too much. It's also signed on the title page and on the copyright page. There's the number sequence from number 1. Now again, as I said, these are done in fairly large quantities, so they're not rare. Even though it's a signed first edition in perfect condition, it's only $25. Stillwater, I'll just show it to you. He did go to a different publishing house for this as his last book in the Resnick series. He said that he had retired the Resnick series after 10 or 11 books, and then after a hiatus of some years, he came back and did 2 more. And this is a different publisher. Pardon me. This is Heinemann, but like almost everybody, they show the first edition on the copyright page with the number sequence beginning at 1. He was also published in America, of course, as all good writers are and should be. And here's off minor. This is by Henry Holt. Holt did virtually all of the books, and like most modern publishers, there's the number sequence beginning at 1. And here's a proof copy. This is also Holt. And the good thing about proof copies is you can always look at the copyright page, and anything on that copyright page, if you then see it in a book, in a printed book, and it matches the copyright page, you know that it's first printing in every way. You have every bit of security about that. I'll show you one more. This one also Holt, and again the number sequence goes from number 1. Now, in addition, I've been talking only about the Charlie Resnick series. But the fact is that Harvey has written about 100 books. He started out not very successful. He was basically writing pulps, paperback originals of any kind, including a lot of westerns, and including kind of tough, pulpy kind of novels. They were published as paperback originals here, and we've published some in America, a series about a character named Scott Mitchell. And because they were done as paperback originals in a very quick format, they're very slim. So we published them as two to a book, because otherwise they just would have been kind of, I don't know, too thin, too skinny. He had another character named Frank Elder. And I will say this, that although it's not as well known as the Charlie Resnick series, the Frank Elder series is, I think, one of the most beautifully written series in the world of crime fiction. They're largely unknown, but the first trilogy about Elder is about the relationship that he has with his daughter. He was a cop and was desperate to get this violent criminal off the streets, and used his daughter as bait to catch this guy, knowing that this guy would come after his daughter. And it went wrong. And she was badly abused. And his heart is broken because he loves his daughter, and his heart is broken. And the trilogy is about the relationship that he has with his daughter, and how she gradually, very gradually, comes to largely forgive him for how her life was ruined. It's so poignant. When I published a couple of those books, and when I read the manuscripts, I lost it. I cried. It was just so beautiful and so poignant. But that's the kind of writer that John Harvey is. Just an absolute poet. And for proof of the poetry, here's a volume called Bluer Than This, which is a book of his poetry. And this is the first edition. I think there was only one printing, which is true of most volumes of poetry. Just a curiosity, he had a little promotion piece for one of his novels called Easy Meat, and this is a little promotion piece that he signed and gave away at various conventions like BoucherCon, which I think is where I got this copy. And because Resnick talks about Nottingham so elegantly, here's another promotion piece called Resnick's Nottingham, and it's a map of Nottingham, highlighting the places that are mentioned in the stories. A couple of other things. We have this ongoing Biblio-Mystery series, as I know you know, and one of the authors who wrote for it, I commissioned a story, asked him to write one, and he was kind enough to do it. So that's our Biblio-Mystery novels. And because I'm such a great fan of the Charlie Resnick series, I also asked him to write a profile for our ongoing profile series, and he did. It's the Charlie Resnick series. The paperbacks are $2.95. The numbered, the hardcover copies, limited to 100 copies only, numbered and signed by the author. Those are $60, and then there are a few lettered copies, 26 copies, which are $100 for serious collectors. John Harvey, by the way, won the Diamond Dagger from the Crime Writers Association for a lifetime achievement. And the first book in the Resnick series was selected by the Times of London, as one of the 100 greatest crime novels ever written. Serious writer. John Harvey. Thanks for watching.